everyone, welcome back to my channel. Welcome to the monthly money update for the month of February. There is so much on my mind, there is so much to do, so much to say. Let's just jump right in. It's not iced. This is a hot coffee, you guys. It is minus 40 degrees in Montreal today. Like, feels like minus 40. It's horrible. So we're staying inside, we're doing our budgeting, and I am sad to report that for the first time in a couple of months, for the first time since October actually, I'm actually feeling quite anxious about my budgeting. So I know that filming this video is going to help me feel better, because whenever I sit down and talk about money, but also look and like make moves with my money, like move my money around, that helps with my anxiety. So let's jump in by talking about the month of January. This is just very precarious, and I'm gonna take a sip. I feel like for most people, December is their stressed about money month because of Christmas and everything like that. And then January, people cut back on spending a lot and they're like, okay, let me get my act together after Christmas. I feel like I kind of had an opposite experience where I actually did really well with my finances in terms of not spending too much, but I also earned quite a bit in December. That January, by comparison, I think I was being really hard on myself because I was spending more and I was forecasted to earn significantly less than I did in December. And that's just because December was kind of an outlier month where I earned quite a bit of money, which was fantastic. However, the contrast kind of left me feeling a little down and out, I guess you could say. I do think the first 2 weeks of January was pretty status quo. Everything was going well. I was really careful with my spending. I was actually barely like leaving the house and doing stuff, which meant I wasn't spending very much. The élément déclencheur, as they say in French, the like, I don't even know what the translation of that expression is. It's like the changing moment, like when everything changed, was when I went to Toronto for the weekend, and I feel like that kicked off a little bit of a spending spree. That's not true. I also was spending very high on my dining out budget from the beginning of the month because I just kind of refused to buy groceries this month. I don't know. I wish I could tell you why, but I remember being 2 weeks into January actually looking at my dining out budget and freaking out because I was like, if I keep this up, like I'm gonna run out of money. And I also find my dining out budget is like a little bit of a crutch because I'm not the best chef in the world. I'm not the best grocery shopper in the world. Like I think eat out quite a bit, and I lean on eating out a lot for those busy moments, busy days where you're like, shoot, I just don't have time to cook. And so you order out or you go pick something up. So that kind of freaked me out a little bit, but all of my other categories were pretty good. Like I hadn't spent anything on treat yourself, hadn't spent anything on home. Like there were just a lot of categories that I did not touch at the beginning of January. So back to that élément déclencheur, I went to Toronto for the weekend, and whenever you're out of your routine, I think that's where it's really hard to, that's where the real challenge comes in of, can I stick to my budget totally outside of my routine? And for the most part in Toronto, I did. However, I kind of just like turned a blind eye and I was like, okay, let's Uber here. Let's do this. We went out for an amazing lunch with my boyfriend and my uncle, and I picked up the bill. That one is like totally fine. It was more just little things where I was like slipping up and like taking Ubers when, you know, it's like, ugh, Ubers are just so expensive. Things like that. The reason I was in Toronto was for a baby shower, so there was also gifts associated with the baby shower, and I just feel like I had more purchases that I put on credit than I would have liked, which makes me feel like I kind of blew my budget. Now, I don't want to be like, I'm not mad at myself for doing that. I'm just feeling anxious about it. So that's the good news, I guess, is that I'm not like, Zoe, you failed. Like I'm not using that kind of language. I'm really trying to be gentle with myself, as you know, was one of my big goals for this new year of 2023. But it made me feel a little bit anxious, and what I realized by reflecting was when I feel anxious, I become avoidant. And this is not just with my budget, but this is with work, this is with friendships, this is with anything in my life. When something makes me anxious, I try to avoid it, which only makes it worse. So I started feeling anxious about my finances. I stopped looking at my finances. I stopped logging my purchases. I stopped everything. And you know what that did? It made me more anxious because I had no idea what was going on with my finances. I didn't know the balance of my cash budget. I was avoiding everything and feeling more anxious. So for the last 2 weeks of January, I really felt this like high anxiety. It wasn't until January 31st that I took myself to a cafe, I sat down, went through all of my expenses, put them into this budget tracker, and then I was like, okay, it's really not so bad. However, that little lingering anxiety kind of stayed. So I think I learned a very valuable lesson, which is why I'm telling you guys this story of don't avoid your budget. It's okay to make mistakes. It's okay to call an Uber. It is okay to overspend once in a while. What's not okay is beating yourself up about it, avoiding your budget, feeling anxious, and just making everything worse in the long run. Because what all of that avoidance did was it almost made me not want to film this video, which not only is this video important for me in like my YouTube journey and my kind of career, and I feel like there are people who look forward to this video every month, but it's also important to me because this video is how I track my journey, how I stay accountable, and I do get a lot of joy from filming, editing, and uploading this video. And it almost made me want to not do my cash envelopes next month because I was like just so avoidant of it. But luckily I have set the annual goal for myself to do a full year of cash envelopes. So I'm definitely on the hook for that. And my, love for these videos outweighed my anxiety. So here we are. I have everything into my budget tracker. I have cash for the cash envelopes, and we are going to hang out today and talk about money. So that little story time, I guess, is the kind of how I was feeling about money this month. There were definitely some big purchases, and there are some big purchases that I foresee coming up for the month of February, and also even looking ahead to March. So I do think my budget is going to be a bit of a sore spot over the next couple of months, but I just have to stay strong, try and calm down this anxiety, and understand that whatever little moves I'm making, whether it's tracking my expenses, doing my best to stick to the cash envelopes, it is so much better than where I was 1 year ago. And that's really in the end what matters. What matters, and what I want for all of you to remember when you watch these personal finance videos, is you don't need to be perfect. Just take whatever little steps you can, because every little step, your future you will thank you, and you are doing the right thing. Alrighty, so you guys may have noticed I have American money and Canadian money. I feel like a true American YouTuber having this US cash. It is so funny. It feels different. It looks different than my Canadian money. But we're gonna be stuffing cash envelopes with American money because I'm going on a vacation to Florida. So we'll talk about that later. Before we get into the cash envelopes, I have a little announcement. Okay, you guys, the line has been my partner in my personal finance journey since October. They reached out, they sent me their cash envelopes to try, and the rest is history. It completely changed my life, and I am forever grateful to Raisa and the team at the line for their support along this journey. It was a gift out of the kindness of her heart to send me those cash envelopes, and once again, they completely changed my life. She is also the one who made this gorgeous spreadsheet that you see in the background of my videos. And up until about mid-December, I was afraid of this spreadsheet. I was like, no, I'm a paper girl. This budgeting spreadsheet freaks me out. I had tried to use it once before when I was in a really bad place with my finances. This was actually before she sent me the cash envelopes. So, I don't even remember. I do remember crying though when I first looked at this spreadsheet. And that was just because I was in a bad place. It has nothing to do with this spreadsheet. I was just in such a bad place. I was spending more than I was earning, and I was so incredibly anxious. So from the point where she sent me the cash envelopes, we stayed in pretty consistent contact, and that is where our relationship really started to develop. I feel like she really became just like a partner in my personal finance journey, and I really loved sharing her products and supporting her small business. It's a small business based out of Vancouver, and I love supporting businesses like that. So she reached out and she was like, Zoey, I think you are ready to try another round at the budget tracker. And I will sit down with you and I will walk you through it so that it doesn't feel scary. So that's what we did. And I was like, this is what I was afraid of. This is so cool. It's so aesthetic, and it's gonna be so helpful. So today I'm gonna show you more of this budgeting tracker. Plus I have an exciting little gift that she sent me that I wanna show you as well. Let's do a little sneak peek. This is my new wallet. This is the Saffiano leather folio that your cash envelopes can clip into. And can you see It's monogrammed. It has my initials. So this was such a beautiful gift. I'm so thankful for my partnership with the line. And the exciting announcement is that we have taken our partnership to the next level and they are now an official sponsor of my channel. They are the sponsor for this video and I couldn't be more excited and more grateful. So thank you so much to the line and Raisa and her team for sponsoring this video. I love that company so much because they make aesthetic, beautiful, functional, and affordable products. You guys know that that is in line with so many of my values, small business from Vancouver, like I said. So I really hope you will check them out, whether it's for the budgeting tracker, whether it's for your cash envelopes needs. They also have so many stationery products, so everything will be linked down below. Okay, shall we get into the what I spent and what I earned portion of this video? Yes, I think we shall. Okay, I'm gonna detach my little setup here. So this budgeting tracker gave me a lot of peace of mind in those first 2 weeks of January because Raisa's recommendation was to keep this tab open on your computer literally all of the time. And every day, if you can, or every other day, to check in, input your expenses, and just take a look at your budget. The spreadsheet will automate everything, so it makes it really, really nice. It's a bit more hands-off. If you spend just 5 minutes every other day, you will feel that peace of mind. And that is what I was doing in the beginning. And then, like I said, I flipped and I stopped holding myself accountable. But even playing catch up and when I sat down at the cafe and input all of my receipts, it was a really pleasant experience and it barely took any time at all. So let me quickly walk you guys through the spreadsheet so you have a better idea of kind of what I'm working with. Then we'll dive into what I spent, what I saved, but I really want to show you how this works. So this is a digital download from the line, meaning you go online, you purchase it. I have a discount code for you guys. And you can instantly download it into Google Sheets, so it works straight out of your browser. It's also kind of undated in the sense that you don't need to start in January, you don't need to start in February. You can pick this up and start whenever. So here on the screen, you can see that there is a full-on explanation of the spreadsheet. It explains everything and what you need to do. Next up is the yearly summary, which I cannot wait to have a couple more months under my belt, even a full year of using this product to see like a whole year in review. That is something that right now I don't have, is being able to look back and see over a whole year. What did I spend? What did I make? What did I invest? Like, what did I save? What debt did I pay down? I think that will be so satisfying and I can't wait for that day to come when I can take a look at this tab. The next tab is the expense categories, and this is where you really get to customize it and make this work for you. So similar to my cash envelopes, and what I really like is this kind of works hand in hand with your cash envelopes, is you add or remove, change any of the categories that you personally spend in right here. So some budgeting templates that I have seen in the past, they come with all of these kind of predetermined categories and you feel like, okay, how do I make my budget fit into these categories when, let me say, I'll use an example. Where I live here in Montreal, I don't have to pay a water bill. We don't pay water. It's like heating the hot water. I don't really know how it works, but I don't have a water bill. So when I see budgets that have like that hard stamped water bill, it's annoying because it doesn't apply to me. So here you get to really customize it, make sure that it applies to you. My categories are all of the ones that I have for my cash envelopes: groceries, home, treat yourself, Maggie, coffee, dining out, business expenses, transportation, personal care, and gifts. That's everything I have on cash envelopes. Then I added skiing, therapy, and healthcare. These are all things that I usually spend on credit for. So these are all of my expense categories. You can add or remove or change these at any time while you're using the spreadsheet. Then we tab over to the expense log. This is kind of the tab that you're gonna go to most frequently on a day-to-day. And right up here, let's scroll up, expense tracker, okay? You're gonna put in the date on the left-hand side. Those categories come back here, and when you are inputting something that you bought, you wanna assign it to a category. So is it a business expense? Is it for your dog? Is it personal care? Whatever categories you put in, you then associate each and every transaction to that category. And this will come back later in a second. Then I just put a little description. So I ordered Uber Eats while I was working. You guys know I really try and stay away from Uber Eats, but on this day it was necessary. And because I was working while doing it, it counts as a business expense. You can see down below, I also have like my G Suite, also a business expense. So I just put a little bit of a description, which is nice too, because how many times do we look at a receipt and it's like all in code and you're like, what the heck did I buy? So when you're quick and when you put it in, plus when you're reflecting later at the end of the month, you get a really nice, you get to see in detail what it is you spent money on. And then we have the amount, of course. So we'll go over this in a second, but let's tab over to the January tab where we get to review everything that I spent in January. So every single month has one of these dashboards, we could call it, where everything in green is automated. So the line has already done all of the work in making the pie charts and the bar graphs for you. So when you input everything, when you input your expenses, then you come in here, you input your bill payments, you input your income, it puts it all nice into these charts for you. So everything at the top and everything that's in green, you do not touch while you are using the spreadsheet. It's all automated. Where you do come in and fill in is in here, you're gonna come in and put in your income. So for me, I work at the Spin Studio. I have freelance copywriting, YouTube AdSense, etc. Bill payments here, so rent, phone bill, internet. I don't have my water bill there. Oh, I'm also missing hydro. I have to put that in, but I didn't have a hydro payment this month. That's probably why. But for February, I know I'm gonna have one, so I'll have to have hydro in there. And then here on the side is where it's really interesting. For me, this is my favorite part, where we have the expense summary. So everything from that previous tab gets pulled in here and you can see it on display by category. So you don't just have to look at that long list of, okay, what did I spend? You can see, what did I spend on groceries? What did I spend on home? Treat yourself. Like, you can see by those categories, which for me, doing the cash envelopes method is really, really beneficial. So I really like how this spreadsheet works hand in hand with my cash envelopes. You guys can see there's a lot of red. So with that being said, shall we dive into what I spent? Okay, so if we look at my expense summary here, let's go category by category. Groceries, as usual, I budgeted $400. I only spent around $300, but I think this is incorrect because I don't have any cash left in that envelope. So I'm gonna have to check that list, but I'm pretty sure I spent the whole $400. Home, I spent $55, so I went $5 over at my budget. Treat yourself, I spent $126, and whenever I go over, it's usually something that I spent on credit. For Maggie, oh my gosh, you guys, I spent so much money on Maggie this month because we had multiple trips with the dog sitter. She can't stay alone, and so I do pay someone to look after her when I go out. And I also had to get some medication for her, which was very, very expensive. So Maggie cost me a lot of money this month, but that's okay, we love her. Coffee, I was right on the money, $39.61 when I budgeted $40. Dining out, I spent $275, but this includes that $100 lunch. We went to Italy in Toronto. It was so good that I got for myself, my uncle, and my boyfriend. So I was really happy to do that. I was really, really happy to treat them. And that's that $95 that I spent over here. So that was totally fine. I have no regrets there. Business expenses, this was a very, very big category. I did get some stuff on credit that were 100% YouTube related. So yeah, I spent almost $350 on YouTube / copywriting business related stuff. Transportation, this is where I went over in Toronto with Ubers and tickets for that like train that brings you to the airport. It was a really good weekend, but it's just crazy how one weekend, like out of town, out of your routine, can be so expensive. And we didn't even do anything crazy. Like, we went out for a couple dinners, we had a couple drinks, we Ubered around a little bit, and like it was just like not even the most extravagant weekend we could have had, and it still was so expensive. So it just goes to show. Personal care, pretty much right on the budget with $43. Gifts, I spent a lot of money on gifts this month. I spent $100 when I had budgeted $40, but again, there was the baby shower. There was a gift for a friend of mine who watched Maggie for the weekend. I wanted to give her a gift to say thank you. And I spent $70 while skiing. I don't really remember what I spent on, but we'll go through that long list after and see if there are any notable purchases. But you guys can see here, my budgeted was $1,020 and my actual spending was $1,800. So I really am having trouble talking today. I overspent by almost $800, which is a lot. It's definitely a lot. And there's even some purchases that I made like right at the beginning of February that we'll just talk about next month. I've kind of been in a bit of a spending mood. I don't know I don't know why. There's just certain things that have been on my wish list like forever. They've been on my wish list forever and I just pulled the trigger and got them. I also went to the podiatrist, you guys might remember in that vlog. So just little things. It was an expensive month, but here we are. There's all my spending. Okay, so some of the notable purchases here, I went to Barry's Bootcamp in Toronto, which was $42 for a workout class. That is insane, but I just really wanted to experience it, so I splurged $42 at Barry's Bootcamp. My annual Canva subscription, I use Canva to help with editing my videos. I make my invoices on there. I do a lot with Canva, so that was a big business expense, and that I just prepay for the year. Oh my gosh, I bought heated mitts. I bought battery operated heated mitts for $70 for skiing. Oh yeah, that's what that purchase was. Yeah, so we went skiing one day and we finished the runs and my hands were so cold. I was like, enough is enough. I'm ordering these heated mitts, and I found a pair on sale on Amazon. So I just pulled the trigger and bought those. We have the vet, like I said. We also had my laptop payment installment. I feel like this angle, you guys can see like my really poor posture. Oh my gosh, we did a big meal prep one weekend, JS and I, and so I spent $73 on the ingredients for 2 meals. It was pretty expensive, but it lasted us a long time and it was really good, but that was like an expensive grocery store trip. Had to buy a new leash for Maggie because her other one broke. So just little, like it's just a normal month with that one trip that is expensive. Life is so expensive. So in February, looking forward, I want to say I'm gonna cut back on my spending. But you guys, I'm going on vacation and I've already made the budget for it, which is a huge improvement from old me. Old me would have never made a budget for going on vacation, but I do know I'm going to be spending on frivolous things that probably some people in the comments will like not approve of. Like guaranteed I'm gonna get a comment like, how could you go to Barry's Bootcamp? It's so expensive. You know what? I'm probably gonna go back. I would do it again. It was worth it. So yes, on vacation, I will probably be dining out a lot more. I will probably be spending on things like workout classes, and that's okay. That's life. We're meant to enjoy life as well. I am happy that I made a budget for vacation, which we'll talk about in a minute. But since we have this budgeting tracker open, let's take a look at my earnings for the month. So once again, my income is also tracked inside the spreadsheet, which is really nice to just have everything beautifully laid out in front of me. I used to do it in a spreadsheet, but like it was so ugly, and I just did it purely to use it as like a calculator function. So now that I have it in front of me looking so gorgeous is really, really nice. So I have 5 streams of income. The first is my part-time job at the spin studio. I usually expect to make around $450 there. However, this month I only earned $160, and that is because I took a bunch of time off. I didn't work there for the first 2 weeks in January, so that's okay. I mean, I always just save this money. I don't think of it as my money. Like when I go into my part-time job, I say that I'm like volunteering or whatever, and it's just bonus money for me. So even if it's low, I'm still really happy. Not to mention I get a free gym membership by working there, so I save a bunch of money on workout classes that way. The next source of income is my freelance copywriting contract. I expected to make around $1,000 and I ended up making $1,275, which was really, really good. YouTube AdSense, I was expecting around $2,500. It ended up being a little bit lower at $2,000 for the month. Really grateful for that no matter what. YouTube sponsorship, I can always kind of forecast that because I know at the beginning of the month like what it's gonna be. However, this is not money for things that I did in January. This is money that came in January. So it's always like that. Same with AdSense. It's not for the ads in January. It's like you get paid in January for the month before. So YouTube sponsorship, these are things ranging from, I think this was all from December, $3,420, which again is so amazing and I'm so grateful for that. And then I have my freelance admin contract. This one I usually do less hours for. I was expecting around $600, but ended up doing a bit more work there and making $1,000 from this contract, which makes my total income for the month $7,852. That is insane. I am so incredibly grateful. Like when I see that number, I just find it hard to believe. I'm like, me? Like after last year of really kind of struggling to grow my income, to earn this much money in a month it's a blessing, it's a privilege, and I'm so, so grateful for it. So Oh, anyways, I'm just so thankful, so thankful. And at the beginning of the year, I had set the goal to earn $5,000 a month consistently every month and kind of have that be my baseline income. So this far exceeds my goal, and I'm thrilled. I'm so happy. I'm like accepting an award. Okay, throughout the month, if we look at my savings, what did I contribute? The only thing I contributed to my savings this month was to my 1 month ahead. I put my whole rent there of $1,510, and then it came right out because now we're already in February. Looking at debt and investments, again, these are all already here for you in the spreadsheet. I did make a payment towards my line of credit in the middle of January, $724, which is in line with my goal of paying that off in 3 months. So that's fantastic. Investments, didn't really put anything to my investments except for $100, which is already on auto deposit to my TFSA. Oh, and I completely forgot to talk about my bill payments, but I'll just put a screenshot up on the screen of my rent, my phone bill, internet, car insurance, car payments, all of that. Okay, can you guys tell we're losing daylight? I just got it all set up to do everyone's favorite part, I think, of this video, which is the cash envelope stuffing. It's certainly my favorite part. The last steps of my budgeting reset routine are to fill up my cash envelopes and then to pay off my credit cards, and then with whatever's left, put into savings, investing, etc. I really hope that one day soon it won't be like whatever's left, but it will be like a consistent amount every single time. But we're not quite there yet, and I just am grateful now that I know that there is still gonna be some money left over that I can put towards savings or debt repayment. But anyways, we'll talk about that after. Let's talk about my cash envelopes and how I have US money, Canadian money. What am I gonna do with that? So I'm going to be going to Florida for 2 weeks in February. And originally I was like, okay, I'm gonna have to be really careful because I'm gonna spend on credit, and I always go over when I spend on credit, blah, blah, blah. And then I was like, Zoey, you're going to the US, like you're going to America. Like you can easily get cash and spend in cash there. If I was going to New York, it might be different because I know in New York, for whatever reason, there's a ton of places that don't accept cash, but I didn't notice that when I went to Florida. So I was like, you know what? How fun will it be to challenge yourself and do your cash envelopes even on vacation? I think it's gonna bring me peace of mind because I already have parameters of what I can spend. Plus, you know, cool, we get to try this in another country. So let's do that. I sat down this morning and I made a budget for Florida. Some of the stuff will be on card, some of the stuff will be cash. And then I made my budget for Montreal for when I'm at home. So let's start with Florida. I'm going to use the new folio here. Once again, my engraved folio for Florida. So we have way less categories because spending is kind of simplified, and the categories that we do have, they go up while on vacation. First things first is restaurants. So wait, let me just separate. First things first is restaurants. We have $200 budgeted for 2 weeks worth of dining out, restaurants, Chipotle, you guys know. Oh my gosh, this money's sticky. 2, 4, 6, 8, 100. Let's do 200. And this is for dining out. It's so weird seeing American money in my envelopes. Next up is groceries. Because we're gonna be staying with JS's mom, we are so lucky that we don't just have to dine out all the time. We can also do groceries. So similarly, I just kind of matched my budget for here, which is $200, but 200 US is actually more than 200 Canadian. So take all of that with a grain of salt. So I did bump it up a bit, but I do find things in America are just like more expensive than here. I don't know. I guess it depends on what. So $200 for groceries, 2, 4, 6, 8, 100. We're gonna do all 20s actually. 2, 4, 6, 8, $200. Where's my groceries? Next up is shopping. I only did $100 for shopping. I really don't foresee. I know Florida is like the shopping capital. It feels like everything there is like shopping, shopping, shopping. But last time I was there, there wasn't that many things that appealed to me. And I'm so lucky I already did like a little bit of clothes shopping. I already got some stuff for vacation. So yeah, I think $100 will be perfect. So we'll put this in the treat yourself envelope. Okay, this last category, I already know some people are gonna piss their pants when I tell them, but let me tell you, I am gonna have no regrets. $100 for coffee. Why? Because going out for coffee, I treat it like not just sustenance, but an experience. It's a whole little experience going out for coffee. So I budgeted for like one coffee per day, $100, let's go. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. One thing I will say that I've noticed is coffee is more expensive in the US than here in Canada. And certain groceries are more expensive there, I find. My last budget categories for Florida are workouts, activities, and books. I budgeted $200 for workouts, $200 for activities, and $50 for books. Again, some people are gonna piss their pants when I say that, but I don't know. That's just what I choose to spend my money on. I think paying for workout classes is fun. I'm going on vacation and I don't need to justify it any further than that. You get to spend your money on what you want. I get to spend my money on what I want. So my total budget in US dollars for 2 weeks on vacation in Florida is $1,050 USD, which converted to Canadian, I'll put it here on the screen. Like I said, it's gonna be an expensive month. I have about $260 here, and this is for groceries, dining out, and coffee while I'm here. I did not budget for treat yourself. That's all gonna be done on vacation. No gifts, sorry, nobody's getting gifts this month. And for Maggie, I'm actually super, super fortunate that friends are helping me look after her while I'm away. So there's no actual overhead dog cost. I actually didn't budget for having to get her some new food for this month. So that will just go on card, but $260 for the just mentioned categories for while I'm here in Canada. Now, because my cash envelopes are already being used with US dollars, what I'm gonna do is just take some of these and I'm going to put a sticky note on top of them to sort out the Canadian money, but I'll do this off camera because otherwise this video will just never end. So let's go ahead and clip these in. This is my favorite part of the video. This new folder, it's so new that it's like a little bit stiff, but let's go ahead. I am so grateful to have this new higher quality, a little bit more premium leather wallet now for my cash envelopes. I feel like I've been committed for a couple of months and I've committed to a whole year. So it's really nice to just level up with this little touch of luxury. Alrighty, so that's it for my budget. Now I'm going to go pay off my credit cards. You guys saw all of my spending. So those are all split between my MasterCard and my American Express. And I just need to decide, do I want to put my money towards my 1 month ahead right now? Do I want to fill that up? Or do I want to make a little bit more of an aggressive move on paying off my line of credit? I could do a little bit extra. I mean, we're at the beginning of the month. Last month, I did it in the middle of the month. So I'm like, okay, I could do it again in February, but I think I'm gonna first do my line of credit. So we'll do $724 to my line of credit. And then with whatever I have left, I will put towards my 1 month ahead. That's how I'm prioritizing things right now. Once my line of credit is paid off, I will focus on my emergency fund, my investments, etc. One step at a time. Looking forward, I mean, I'm really looking forward to Florida. I'm looking forward to just being stress-free. I talked about that a lot in my monthly reset video, and I'm also looking forward to March. It's going to be an expensive month as well. So I think I just need to stay positive, stay looking at my budget tracker every day or every other day, and just know that life goes in ebbs and flows, and there are certain moments where it's really time to hunker down and save, and I'm not going through that season of my life right now, but it's also really exciting. Along with spending a lot of money, with what's coming up in my life is it's good things, it's exciting things. I'm spending money on vacation. It's such a privilege. I'm spending money on something really exciting in March. That's also a privilege. So looking at it with a positive lens, not being hard on myself, and all of that. We did it! I started out this video feeling anxious, like I said, and of course, as usual, getting everything off my chest, chatting with you all makes me feel so much better. Thank you guys so much for watching this video, for hanging out with me, and for your never-ending support. It really, really means the world to me. Comment down below how you did with your budget. What was your most expensive? What was your best purchase of the month? I can't wait to read it. Thank you again to The Line for sponsoring this video. And that's a wrap. I will see you all in my next video, which will be, I think, a really exciting vlog. So stay on the lookout for that. I love you guys. And then I'll see you in Florida. All right, enough talking. Bye.